Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com, and I wanted to look at the first half of the day today in the E-mini S&P and talk about a very volatile, confusing, choppy first hour of the day and some of the evidence that we were looking at that to help make sense of that, and some confusing, certainly a place where I got very confused. And then I want to talk about some of the evidence that we had ahead of this 10-point or so sell-off over the next hour, hour and a half. So again, looking at the first half of the day. So heading into the day, obviously we want to try to put into perspective some context, bigger picture, and obviously, or not obviously, but heading into the day, our bigger picture bias was down. So that means all things equal, we would rather be on the short side, but we want to monitor what the real-time order flow evidence is telling us. But going into the day, we'd like to be on the short side. And then also with our overnight trade, we want to monitor what happens in the overnight. And we did get some follow through off of this. Here's about the cash close yesterday. Here's the end of yesterday, the beginning of today's regular trading hours. You can see we had a nice little sell-off at the end of the day, and so we did have some continuation lower in the overnight. Our overnight low was at 62.75 right in there. Our overnight high could not get back above this level where the selling really came in late in the session yesterday, and the overnight high was 71.50. So you can see that actually was where our daily high today was as well. But kind of thinking back in time and looking through this in terms of what the evidence was telling us at the time, if we kind of put ourselves back in time, what you can see early on is that we had some strong level 2 selling that came in. So that's telling us that the selling aggression was very strong at that moment. Then we had some extreme selling aggression here on the low of the day. So certainly what I was thinking at this time is this market is poised to have a pretty nice move down on this bar. And one of the ways you can do that, certainly you can just sell the breakout, but another way you can do that is what we call a level 3 retracement trade, where you look to sell toward the high of that bar, maybe a tick or so from the high of that bar. That certainly got stopped out. I would take that trade 100 out of 100 times. It just didn't work in this instance. Okay, so it got stopped out. It got stopped out with malice. But what that's then telling us, we adjust. So when our expectation is not met, and again, that's going to work 7, 8 out of 10 times easily, where you're going to at least get in at the high of the bar, and it's going to at least trade to the low of the bar. That's going to happen about 8 out of 10 times. It didn't on this time, and it not only did it not, but it was taken out with this level 3 or extreme buying aggression bar. So whenever you see a pattern like this, where you have the rejection of an extreme selling aggression bar on the low of the day, and not only was the high taken out, but it was taken out by the opposite extreme buying aggression bar, that's a very good sign, and again 7 or 8 out of 10 times, that the low of the day is in place. And we even this is a really nice reversal pattern that we like, where you can see where these bars overlap right in here. That's a very nice place to get into a long position, and you could see that that was actually a very nice trade to get into. We had a lot going for us right there. Again, this nice reversal pattern. We know the low, the level 3 retracement trade again idea here, right to the low of that bar. We had a support zone, we had a green filter, we had support zone, we even had this deceleration here. So this is a really nice reversal type of a setup right here, playing off of that. And it certainly, it went from about 67 up to 71, right up to the overnight high again. But you can see when we hit the overnight high, we started to get some selling come in. So again, it's telling us this is a very choppy market. You're still thinking, however, that this should be, like I said, 7 or 8 out of 10 times, this should be the low of the day. And again, we tested there a couple times. By the third or fourth time we knocked on the door, though, you're starting to get a little more skeptical. And what we do know, however, is when you have a pattern like this, a really nice reversal pattern that ultimately, now it certainly rallied 4 points off of there from here and here, but when it ultimately doesn't hold, that's kind of like the dam breaking, and this thing's very often off to the races when that happens. And you can see when we made the new lows, we had the high velocity move here, level 2 strong selling, level 3 extreme selling, right into the overnight low. And at this point, again, we had an attempted move lower early in the day that was rejected. We had the reversal pattern that worked, but ultimately didn't go and make new highs. We've taken out the reversal pattern. This is a very good sign that when you think about what should happen and what does happen, going back about with that logic again, this quote should have sold off from here. It didn't. So that's giving us information that there's a reversal afoot. This should have been the low of the day, and it like I said, it did hold nicely. But when ultimately this is not the low of the day, that's a very good signal that again, a big move, a nice break lower in this case, is probably going to occur. And you can see that's confirmed again with the high velocity move, the level 2 bar, the level 3 bar. So at this point you've got a few options. One is just to sell the breakout. Another one is again that level 3 retracement trade right into here, or even even what we call our high velocity move continuation trade. We're right on the low of the high velocity move. That's another way to look at it. You could just continue on lower, another break option down there as well. So a few options along the way. So just in terms of ways that people use this, there's a couple different ways. One, you can just use this software to kind of give you the lay of the land in terms of trades you might be taking. So again, when this move lower failed in this zone here, you're looking to be long. So if you have other trade setups that you're using, it's giving you pretty good evidence that taking a long would make some pretty good sense. And then when the market broke lower, this is telling you, well, you'd want to avoid any long setups that you might use with any other method that you might, any other trade setups you're using, and you'd want to jump on any shorts that you get. That's one way to do it. So you use this software as kind of giving you a roadmap or the lay of the land or a decision aid for getting into the market, and then obviously holding trades as long as possible as well, waiting for evidence that the other side's coming in. That's one way to use it. The other way is to use some of the trade setups that we teach, and again, there were a few really nice options today. This first off, level 3 a sell right here, the level 3 retracement trade, that would have been a loser. The reversal setup right in here would have been a nice winner. The level 3 retracement trade in here, or the high velocity move continuation trade right in there would have been certainly nice winners. Any breakout trade on this one or on this one would have been a nice winner. So there's a few different ways you can use it, but the whole key to this, the whole idea behind this, is that you're simply looking to see what the order flow is telling you in a nice visually easy way to see it, relatively speaking, what matters, what doesn't matter, which side's really coming in hard, which side's not. Can what we quote expect to happen, and you ride that train. If the opposite of that happens, you adjust. It's that sort of idea. That's what we talk about and teach, and so that's the kind of the idea. But I just thought this was an interesting day, and I wanted to review it in terms of a very choppy, somewhat confusing first hour, and then the fact that this reversal pattern failed and we got the nice sell-off off of that. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, by all means let us know, and we can try to explain that more fully. But otherwise, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.